Yeah.
So it's supposed to be digital photography folder inside the folder, it's export folder inside the export folder.
The contact sheet gets
Light
saved.
Study.
No. Inside the digital photography folder, you have a project folder called Light Study. You should have a folder inside of digital photography called Light Study. In that folder, you have an exports folder.
And then inside the export folder.
Save the contact sheet from there.
Do you want us to put it how we're turning it in, like our first initial last name?
It's a good habit to do that. Real quick, just so we see this real quick. Just a refresher, guys. Here's the organization of things. You have your hard drive, right? Inside digital photo goes the projects. In this case, we have a project called Light Study. Right? Right? In the project folder, we will always have another breakdown of folders. The first folder will be the raw folder. Every project will have the title of the project as the main folder, and inside will have a raw folder that contains your raw photos. Then, what we just did was, we created inside of Light Study an export folder. So now in Light Study you have two folders. You can reorganize this after the fact as well. You can just drag and drop things and make new folders, it's fine. But projects inside, right, your digital photography folder, you can even make a new folder called projects, or you don't need this. You don't necessarily need a parent folder called projects. You can just have the project folder. It's fine. Inside the project folder, we have a raw folder that gets created when we move our photos from our memory card. Okay, so gets created when moving photos from card. And then this folder gets created when making contact sheet. Okay, export. Right now, the only thing in the export folder is your contact sheet. That's the only thing in there. We are about to put more stuff in the export folder. And you'll see the reason for that in a second. But this is the organization of our file structure right now. Okay? Just to paint the picture a little bit more clear for you guys. Okay? We are going to put more things in this export folder in a second. But right now, the only thing that is in your export folder is your contact sheet. That's it. Contact sheet. Your contact sheet might be multiple files too, depending on how many photos you had. You might have one JPEG, or it might have created 2 JPEGs or 3. Mine, I think, just created like 4 JPEGs because I had that many photos. Okay? So, that repeats itself. That folder structure continues to repeat itself no matter what project you're doing. It's just always going to be that way. The only thing that's going to change in your projects is the project name and the photos that are actually there. Okay? So, do that first. Get that out the way. Create the contact sheet. That's the proof that you shot 30 or more photos. It's there. It's just hanging out. You got rid of that. You don't have to worry about going back to the print menu and doing any of that. Like, just do that first. Go create the contact sheet. When you're done, here I'll show you what the result was of my contact sheet. See, raw and export in my project folder, and then exports, contact sheet. There's my contact sheet. Because of how many photos I shot, that's how many pages my contact sheet is. That's it. That's what you have there. And actually, Lightroom does you a nice thing, and it puts it in a little separate folder that's called Contact Sheet for you.
How did you make it into the contact?
On the left-hand side, hit Template Browser, then hit Lightroom Templates. Underneath Template Browser, the first drop-down, hit Lightroom Templates, and find the 4x5 Contact Sheet. And then on the right-hand side, the very last option, Print to. No, go back. Oh, did you just change it to JPEG file? Oh, you did. Okay, cool. Then yeah, you hit Print to File. Yeah. And then save it in your exports folder in your project.
I did that and it only saved the first section.
You might only have one page.
I have to read those.
It's still going. The progress bar on the left-hand side, you see it?
Yeah.
Very top, the very top left. Top left,
Oh,
it's still going. It's still processing.
oh, sorry.
Yeah.
And so when we turn it in, it's just the contact sheets.
That part. Okay? There's one more part. And so this part, Contact Sheet proves that you shot 30 or more photos. Okay? That's the proof. I can look at the contact sheet and go, oh, you shot a bunch of photos, so you kept shooting. Or I can look at the contact sheet and go, hey, you should probably shoot more. That's the purpose of the contact sheet. Okay? But what the contact sheet doesn't do is it doesn't show me your selects. It doesn't show me 6 shallow depth of field and 6 wide depth of field photos. It doesn't show me that because they're super small. I can't see the detail in the photos. So now the next step in the process is what we need to do is go back to the develop menu. We need to filter your view to those photos that are your select photos. In the instance of the light study, everything is your select photos, okay? So I want you to go back to the develop view and turn the filters off for the light study in the instance of the light study. If this is a different project, you are going to pick your selects and filter your view. But for the purpose of the light study, we are not doing that because I want to see every photo individually, okay? So the one thing you're going to do is show everything, and we're going to select all again. So Command or Control A. And now we're going to go through the process of exporting. This is where we turn our raw photos, which are files that are not shareable, that are really large and cumbersome and unique to the programs we're using. And we're going to turn them into shareable files, JPEGs, that anyone can use, anyone can see, and the size is smaller, so it's easier to share. Exporting is that process, okay? So, when you right-click or secondary click on your photos, you get this menu. You go to export, and then it's a little bit redundant, but you hit export again. And you at this window. And I want you guys to hang out at this window for a second. I want everyone to get to this window. And this is where I want you guys to take notes on these steps. And I'll go slow enough so that everyone can take the proper notes. First things first, I want everyone to close all the menus. So yours looks like mine. I want you to collapse all these menus. Just collapse all the menus. So we've selected all our photos and we're in the export menu, okay? The second thing is at the very top, export to, I want you to select hard drive. Now, I'll say it again. Lightroom remembers the last thing you did. So if once you set this to hard drive, it'll always be on hard drive the next time you come back. Next, I want you to hit drop down arrow on export location. The very first option, export location. Then we are going to export to specific folder. Specific folder. Export to, click the drop down menu and select specific folder. And then hit choose. And I want you to find the export folder that you created for this particular project. And hit, okay, and stay there. Don't hit choose yet. Just find the export folder that you created for the particular project. And double click on it, like go into the export folder. So double click on the export folder, but don't double click on the export folder, but don't hit choose yet. Just make sure you're inside of the export folder, okay? But don't be inside of your contact sheet, just inside of the export folder. Then, inside here, we are going to create a folder for the specific type of export that this is. Now, with photos, we can do two things. We can email them, we can put them on our phones, or we can print them. But those of you that are in the digital asset management class, what's the difference between files that are created for print and files that are created for showing digitally? The resolution. Yes. The resolution changes the file size. So we need to export two types of photos. One type is for digital, and one type is for print. Every project you do, you're going to do this so that you have two types of photos. Okay? So right now, we're going to create a new folder, and we are going to name it digital. And then hit choose. Okay, you're going to uncheck put in subfolder after you hit choose. Okay, so you're going to create a new folder, name it digital, and then make sure that put in subfolder is not checked. So hit choose after you or new folder, and then uncheck put in subfolder. Make sure it's not checked. And then uncheck put in subfolder. Make sure it's not checked. All right, we've picked our location. The next step, file naming. We want to drop down file naming. We're going to check rename to, and then in the drop-down menu, you're going to select custom name dash sequence. Custom name dash sequence. Now, in the custom text area, you are going to put the name of the project. Remember, get in the habit of not using spaces, use dashes or underscores. For you guys right now, this project is called what? Light Study. The other thing that I want you guys to add, that you add to anything you turn in is what?
First initial.
First initial, last name. And then the start number, you're just going to leave at number 1. The other thing we're going to add at the very end of this file name is the specific type of export this is. What's the name of the folder we put this in? Digital. Yeah, so we're going to amend to the end of this file name, digital. That lets us know what type of JPEG this is going to be. And then it will give you a little preview of what the file name will look like down here underneath so you can see it. Next thing we're going to go to is File Settings. And you want to select the format of JPEG, quality 100, and color space sRGB. It probably is defaulted there. So you probably won't have to do anything with file settings. The last thing we're going to deal with is image sizing. And this is important. And this is where you make the distinction between digital and print. You are going to, for digital specifically, digital only, we are going to check the box that says resize to fit under image sizing. You are going to select from the drop-down menu width and height. We are going to, in the width, type the dimension 1920. In the height, we are going to leave it blank, and we're going to make sure that your dimensions are in pixels. The last thing is, because this is for digital, our resolution is going to be what? 72 pixels per inch. This is what we do for digital exports. You find the folder, you name it accordingly with the digital name amended at the end, and you resize to fit. You only define the width dimension. The program will do the height proportionally. And you do 72. The good thing, again, Lightroom remembers the last thing you did. So this will kind of be set in place when we come back. And then you hit export. And Lightroom, you will see the progress bar at the top left. One more step. We need to export the files that could be used for print. So you already have everything selected already. So all you do is repeat the process. Right click, export, and export. You can do this while it's running on the other export. The location is going to change. What is going to change about our location? We are about to export photos for print now. What should change about our location? The folder. So we should go back to our exports folder. So go ahead, I'll take a step back. In the export location, hit choose. Then navigate back to your exports folder in your hard drive for the project. And in the exports folder, create a new folder called what? Print. And then hit choose. And that's where we're going to save our files. The file name is pretty much the same, except what should change in our file name? The digital part, and put what? Print. File settings is the same. Now this is what changes. It's fairly simple. For the print files, we are going to uncheck resize to fit, and we are going to change our resolution to what? 300. And that's it. You hit export. This export might take a little longer because the files are bigger. But the files you get now in your print folder are quality enough to be printed. So now, if I go to my hard drive, I have some assets for this project. I have my contact sheet, I have my digital photos, and I have my print photos. I go here to my digital, and here are my digital ones. I go to my print photos. They look similar, but if I look at the information on the photo, the file size is a lot larger. So if I go to file info, my print photo is Let's see if I get the. "13 megabytes. But if I go to my digital photo, the photo is 1 megabyte. So it's a lot more manageable. Okay? All right. You guys have gutted through up until this point. There is one more step to turn all of this in. And this is what you do for every project. Okay? Once you have all your assets exported, your assets are exported, we go to Adobe Acrobat and we open Adobe Acrobat. So we have Adobe Acrobat open and we go to the section in Adobe Acrobat named Tools. So there's a section in Adobe Acrobat named Tools. In Tools in Adobe Acrobat, you're going to click on the tool Combine Files. So in Adobe Acrobat at the top left next to Home there is a button, there's a word Tools, and you're going to click on Combine Files. All right? So here at the top, Tools, click on Combine Files. It will look something like this. Click on Combine Files. And then at this point you can either open Finder or Bridge. I need to put them all on the same desktop. And drag and drop. Or you can hit Add Files and it opens your Finder. Essentially what we're going to be doing is you're going to find the digital files. This is important or your PDF will be huge. Only use the digital files. Navigate to digital files, select them all, and drag them into the window. The other thing that I want you to put in here is your contact sheet. So navigate to the contact sheet and put that in the window. In this dialog here in Adobe Acrobat, the question came up, can you reorder photos? You can reorder them here by simply dragging and dropping them into a different location. You can reorder your photos in this dialog. So if you need to put your photos in order, you can do it here. There's one more thing I would like you to include in this document. So remember in the light study you had to do a write-up? I would like you to put the write-up file in here as well. So if you have a PDF, it's easier to drop it in here. You can also drop the Word document in here, but if you export your Word document into a PDF, you can drag it in here as well. So you have 3 parts to your assignment: the selects, the contact sheet, and the write-up. That is how every assignment gets turned in. Selects, contact sheet, write-up in one document. You can reorder your things nicely in here. Once you reorder your things, go ahead and hit Combine. And Adobe Acrobat will do its thing. It will combine all the files, your digital exports, your contact sheet, and your write-up. When it opens, on the left-hand side, you can also reorder your pages by clicking this icon here, the thumbnails page, once it's done on the left-hand side. You can reorder things again because you can just simply drag and drop the order by clicking on the little icon that looks like 2 pages stacked on top of each other. So once you hit Combine, things get combined. You have to let it process. You got to hit that button, Combine. If you're good with the order, and I would suggest you reorder it, if the order that needs to be in, then we need to save this. This is the final step. We are going to save it as other. save as other. So some of you are not on the combine. You haven't combined, so you can't save it until you actually combine all the files together. You're going to hit save as other, reduced size PDF. It's going to give you a little like alert. That alert is going to be, are you sure we need to save it as a regular size PDF before we can save it as a reduced size PDF. Just hit yes.
So what were those steps again?
So we combined all our files into one document. You're going to hit File, Save as Other, Reduced File Size PDF. Reduced size PDF. And then you're going to hit yes on that first dialog that pops up, and you're going to name it. What should we name this document? This is the final turn-in for the project. What should it be named? Light study, and then
Yeah.
what's missing?
My name.
Name.
First initial, last name.
Can it be interchanged?
It can. Where should we save the file? Where should we save the file? On your hard drive, where?
Light study folder.
In the project folder. Should save this file in the project folder. And hit save. So what's going to happen is it's going to give you a little compatibility dialog. PDFs always like to do this. You're just going to hit OK on the compatibility dialog, and then it's going to reopen the save file, the save dialog. That's because what you just did was you saved the regular size PDF, and now we're going to save the reduced size PDF. The thing is, once you hit OK, so hit OK on that dialog, on this next dialog, you're just going to hit save again. Because the only document we care about is the reduced size PDF. So we're just going to hit save, and then it's going to say, are you sure you want to replace? And you hit replace. It does its thing. It gives you the little progress bar. And that file that you are left with is the file you turn into the Dropbox. Now, turning stuff into the Dropbox, you don't turn in multiple files. You turn in one PDF, and in that PDF, I see every photo you shot. I have your write-up, and I have your selects. No matter how many selects there are. Could be 20 selects, could be 12. It's all one single file.
Did you want us to take notes on all of our homework assignments?
You'll see in the next ones, there's a write-up involved. Yeah. But the light study specifically, I told you guys to do a write-up.
Yeah, I hand-wrote it, so I'll just type it up.
So that's how you turn in the assignment. So that file that you're left with is a single PDF with your name, and it has everything included for the project that you shot. That's what I would like you to turn into the Dropbox. Okay? So, what you guys have turned into your Dropbox already, don't worry about deleting it. Just leave it. Okay? What I would like you to make sure you have turned into the Dropbox. Now, I'm going to upload this video from the lecture today and send the link out to everyone so you can watch it again. What I would like you to do is turn in the light study in this manner to the Dropbox. I would also like you to turn in the depth of field that you shot in between this week and last week to the Dropbox. I'm going to assign you guys this week the depth of field project again with the specifics and you are going to turn in your assignment when you come before you come to class next week in this manner. So when we come to class, there should be a file in your Dropbox with your contact sheet and your selects. Okay. For homework, you are going to have a Lightroom tutorial to do based on editing, on how to use Lightroom to edit your photos. You are also going to need to shoot the Dropbox. The depth of field assignment. Okay. The Lightroom tutorial, there is not really deliverables per se, but it is on Lynda, and there are exercise files. All I can say is do the sections that I messaged you about, because you will be better for it, because you will be prepared to edit your photos. Because what I expect is what I send you in the Lightroom tutorial, as far as adjusting exposure and making sure that all your photos are properly lit, I expect to see those techniques implemented in the photos you turn in for your selects. Properly exposed photos is your goal. Whether you fully achieve it when you take the photo or you use Lightroom to edit your photo, right? To get a properly exposed photo, along with the other things that we're trying to achieve. Okay? So, assignment. Let me